Customers for keeps. How do we do this? Let's jump in today on Behind the Book with guest Cheryl Crumb of Cheryl Crumb & Associates. Let's dive in. Welcome to Behind the Book, where I am your guide, Heather Andrews, unraveling the captivating stories from behind the pages. Join me as I sit down with authors from the literary landscape to delve into challenges, inspirations, and untold tales that breathe life into their written worlds. Welcome, Cheryl. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Heather.
Excellent. Excellent. So when we talk about customers for keeps, that's a piece of a culture, which you wrote sort in the Culture Revolution book a few months ago. What puts you to, customers for keeps, and why is that so important?
I chose the name Customers for Keeps because at the time I was doing it primarily in English, but I had some clients in Mexico, and it translated so beautifully for clientes para siempre, which is customers for always. Oh. And I loved the name because I believe that all of us need to be in whatever role we're in for whatever organization, we need to be adding so much value that we make our customers more successful with us than without us. Mm-hmm. And not only the paying customers who are buying our product or service or solution, but also those internal customers who are the next people in the operation. So loyalty is hard to come by, and it's getting more scarce.
Yes.
So I created a program that is about the change that an organization culture needs to undergo if they are going to be worthy of claiming customers who are loyal. Mm-hmm. And that's why Customers for Keeps, in my mind, it flows, Heather.
Yes.
Because that's the message, internal or external. Mm-hmm. We need to provide value.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So with your coaching program that you and in your company, you bring culture or teach culture to corporations. Do you teach Customers for Keeps in that, and how do you do that?
So let me use an organization that I'm working with right now, and I'm really excited about this organization. They're in the manufacturing world, and they're doing it right. Mm-hmm. And when I say they're doing it right, I contrast that with some organizations that say, yes, we like this program, but we want you to do it in a day and a half. But we want the same results.
Okay.
So fortunately, this organization that I'm currently working with is doing it correctly. So what does correctly look like? Well, we started with a half-day fast-track session that was held for the executives of that organization, and I had Zoom interviewed with most of them, or with a lot of them, to get their understanding of what it was important, what their challenges, opportunities, what they wanted to see change. And my goal with this fast track was so that I could get their understanding and their buy-in, because culture is about behavior, and it's about changing behavior for everyone. Those who are normally in a traditional company, who are at the top of an organization, and the rest of the lowly employees who are at the bottom. Well, my program turns that pyramid upside down.
Yes.
So at the top of the organization is our customer. At the very bottom are the leaders, and the leaders are providing direction and support and resources. But it's very difficult because that's the traditional, I call it an obedience organization. I'm looking to have the organization transform, and that, by the way, is a word that companies don't particularly like. It's scary to them. We can talk about culture change and mindset shift, but we can't talk about transformation. So I don't use that word with CEOs and CFOs. So what I get after the completion of that half day is interest and buy-in and agreement. I then interview their customers.
Got it. I understand.
Because you can't have a course on customers for keeps if you don't involve customers. So I will be Zooming with a number of their critical customers, asking the tough questions that organizations should be asking, but we get so caught up in transactional events that we don't ask the long-term strategic questions.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be working with 20 or 25 of their people over the course of 3 months. And during that 3 months, they'll be in workshops with me, but they'll also be in learning teams, doing application assignments. And then I will be coaching 10 or 15 of those individuals on one-on-one afterwards. So that's how we bring about cultural change. So the messages, Heather, the messages are, bring the voice of the customer into your organization. So they're all going to be interviewing their external and internal customers as well as I.
Right.
It's about shifting mindset. Letting go of thoughts like the customer's always right, the customer knows what they want, we should give the customer what they ask for. and instead recognize that, like all of us, customers might not know what's best for them. A third message is the shift from that obedience culture to empowerment. But empowerment, think about it. If I'm your boss and I said, Heather, you're empowered, would that work?
In that moment,
I could help you. I might cause you to want to be more empowered, but I'm going to suggest that there's only one person who can empower Heather Andrews. So that shift from fearful, play it safe obedience to high self-esteem, courageous, and risk-taking and speak out, that's a huge shift that we don't do from Monday to Friday. And
we can do it from January to June.
Exactly, we can do it from January to June. So the fourth element is recognizing that customer satisfaction isn't our goal. Because customer satisfaction means it's okay, it's fine, totally non-memorable. We really need to delight our customers. And while those might not be words that fit in with on-time delivery and profitability, we want to recognize that our only true asset is our loyal customers. And then the fifth skill or competency that they'll learn in the training is how to coordinate action, how to build trust. And it doesn't matter whether you have formal authority, because it's our personal power, personal influence that is going to get us past the compliance that authority will get us. So those 5 elements over, a 4 to 5 to 6 month period is what is building and shifting culture.
I love that. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you.
And you just laid it out so beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
And it sounds like, despite the fact that they might not like that word transformation, but it sets forth the transformation in a very methodical way.
Yeah. And, one of the things I think people need to think about is that, the transformation is also from manager, who makes all of the decisions, to being a servant leader. But that means letting go of making some decisions that you've been so great at for decades. Your ability to make decisions got you to the level of promotion that you as a manager enjoy.
Right.
So here we have the delicate dance of the employees who are trying to build up their courage, because we have choices. Do I choose obedience and playing it safe, or do I choose empowerment and taking, and using my courage?
I love that.
And it takes, it's both all sides who are trying new behaviors.
Yeah, I love that. And as we wrap up today, we talked a little bit about the company transformation, but I want to circle back just for a second and just go back to, your chapter. What transformation did you have when you wrote your chapter in this book?
You ask such great questions, Heather. My transformation in writing the book was realizing that I had also, throughout my career, I had been in denial and ignorant, blind to the fact that culture existed in an organization. And I realized that it's really all about designing our future, not drifting into it. Most of us drift into it, and sometimes it's a lucky drift. but I felt that in helping, in coaching my character in the chapter, and in my coaching of all of my clients, I have become a better individual.
Perfect. I love that.
My behavior is changing to bring out the best.
I love that, and all your wisdom. Absolutely, I love that. Where can people find you on social media?
Well, thank you for asking. You can find me at www.ccrumb.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Cheryl Crumb. On Facebook, my personal page, Cheryl Crumb, and my business page, Cheryl Crumb and Associates. So please look me up.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You heard it here today, all about Customers for Keeps with Cheryl Crumb, and all of those crumbs of wisdom that she dropped in along the way in her 5-pillared program and her own transformation in the book. Stay tuned for more from Cheryl Crumb, especially on the chapter that she abandoned and also what is next for her. See you next time on Behind the Book. Welcome to Behind the Book, where I am your guide, Heather Andrews, unraveling the captivating stories from behind the pages. Join me as I sit down with authors from the literary landscape to delve into challenges, inspirations, and untold tales that breathe life into their written worlds.